I made 100 videos in a row.
But you played the game too. What you talking about?
I mean, I played the game.
You played the game too on these platforms.
I didn't play the game with the art that I came in and that I love. I did not play the game with that. I played it with something that was not, hold on, hear me out. Okay, in this space, how would fine art be treated? He'd be told to go stream because of all the opportunities he could have.
So is the onus on the artist or on the consumer at this point then? Because if you're an artist and you're saying, I feel like I have to stream, that has more to do with you valuing yourself. But the value of fine art has way more to do with the person who's creating it versus the person consuming it. If I say, you know what I'm saying? Like I say no to I say no to a ton of stuff because I'm like, you're not paying me enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I value myself way more. You can't be mad at the market for the market saying this is the trend. You can refuse the trend. That's what, if you're talking about Basquiat, that's what he did. He refused the trend of saying, I'm joining these societies for you to value what I'm doing. So like if an artist is struggling, and I think you're saying, it sounds like you're having two different arguments. Because first you talked about minimum wage for high art, or having like just accepting minimum wage and not doing arenas.
I think there's a confusion on that one. It's not about separate. I'm saying that whatever the highest version of art is for you individually, and I'm not talking about
how is that Spotify's responsibility at this point?
I didn't say it was Spotify's responsibility. What I'm saying is, you artist to artist, DIY to DIYer, if you don't like the house you're in, move. Figure it out on your own. Figure something out. DIY is not about everybody. DIY is, I used your system before and I did not like a lot of the details. There's some things that I just cannot make peace with being in this environment. So I'm going to make a decision to figure it out. My thing is this. Most of the artists that we're talking to, like in a very wide range, they don't need 1 million listeners. They don't know what to do with 100 super fans right now. They don't have the website to support that kind of traffic, right? They don't have the lead magnets or the lead captures to even take care of the people that are coming. I look at producers to this day that still thank the beat stores before they thank the customers pulling out their credit card. We're in a weird space right now. So when I think about artists in this space, I'm like, no, dog. If you figure out how to establish a real small business like any other small business, it doesn't matter where you're at, streaming, anywhere else, you control the driver's, the steering wheel. But when you're in somebody else's house making money at any given point in time, for whatever reason, that can be taken away. So what I'm saying is not be completely independent, but then stop calling yourself independent when you're worried about daddy streaming, paying all of these bills.
See that? Stop you in Joe Budden's camp now, telling people they're not independent just because they own Spotify or whatever. That's what. So the only difference that we have, like, again, I agree with a lot of you say. The only thing that we differ on is the picture that you paint of Spotify's house is not as crazy as what I think it is. Right? Like I think the house is actually nicer than.
You want a better room.
Yeah, I think the house is not, because Spotify streaming has given artists the closest thing to a paycheck than they've ever had. The consistency of it. If you have a catalog that streams well, it's going to pay you consistent. This passive income is going to pay you consistently. Here's my thing, and you please answer this honestly. If you had 500 monthly listeners, would you take your music off of Spotify?
First of all, if I had 500 monthly listeners.
No, 500,000. I'm sorry, 500,000. If you had 500,000 monthly listeners and you were making what I'm seeing these other cats make, would you have taken your music off of Spotify?
In order to answer that has to also ask the question, where was I at to be in a position to have 500,000? This is an important detail. If I had 500,000 because I leaned all the way on streaming and I had the same epiphany I just had, I don't care about that. You're talking to somebody who left YouTube having 200,000 subscribers. Like these platforms don't mean as much as they do to the average artist based upon just the metrics. Now, if I had a successful business in streaming on the side, that'd be stupid to not bring in that extra income, because at this point I have made my brand so large. For instance, when you go into a thrift store right now, you're not going to just see no name, off name brands. You're going to see some pretty big brands like Nike who are large enough that people are reselling the clothing, and there's still a pretty high ticket even in a thrift store. So that's the way that I would look at, for me specifically. That's how I look at streaming. But Dame, you're definitely talking to somebody who I'm not moved by the numbers. I think I've proved as many times of I'll leave, especially if I'm gonna stand on something. I will leave on that. If I have 500,000, to me, it would still feel like I am someone who is I'm the artist. I'm the slave eating shrimp with my pinky up. That's what that feels like to me. It feels like I can look down on other people and say, why don't you understand why this? I don't understand why these broke people don't understand. Just be more competitive. Like I hate. Oh, I swear I hate hearing these conversations, not from you guys, but just in general. People are like, I love it, bro. The threshold is going to thrive competition. Until you look in your catalog and realize there's songs of yours that don't get up to 1,000 streams from that back catalog that you're not going to be getting money for annually. It's not just about the small guy who's not serious about their craft. Even that kind of like elitism bothers me. Because it's like, bro, if he's making $4 and he worked his ass for that $4 on streaming, give him his $4. I don't want that. But it's not going to go to me anyways. It's going to go to the Taylor Swifts and the Drakes of the world because they ultimately represent the 1% that get from that pull system.
Yep. Now it's going to go like, again, we got to start. If we're going to talk about that, sure. If they have more market share, they're going to get more of that. But it's still going to go to the other artists proportionally. Now, I don't agree with how Spotify pays things out. I think us all on this Zoom would prefer a user-centric model for sure. I think we agree with that.
Sure.
But again, I just have to correct people, just like the 70% of playlists and all the money's going. It's not all. It's exactly how they pay things out today.
What is the stat?
Which stat? What do you mean?
Because you said that what I was saying was not accurate. What you got to understand, when I'm putting these numbers out, these are the numbers that I have researched. But if better information presents itself, I will update that research. The same way, shout out to Arsonist. Arsonist made a statement about how Spotify's owned 70% by the major labels. And I made a video retorting that. And then I did some further research and I said, oh, this is what OG meant. And I apologized to him. I'm the same person. I do the same thing with you. So I'm asking, in terms of me putting out false information, if that 70% is not accurate,
the 70% in your tweet insinuated that 70% of streams from playlists, but it insinuated that Spotify controls those, right? That 70% includes user generated playlists, which I believe is a healthy percentage of that 70%.
So that was the one we covered. I'm talking about the second one. The second one we're talking about, if somebody generates $10 as a listener, listening to your particular music, you're getting about $2 to $3 depending upon your deal. You get about $2 to $3, and the rest of that money is going back to the pool.
So the pool is that pool of money is sent out according to market share, right? So if Taylor Swift, if 50%, right, then she's going to get 50%. But independent artists are a percentage of that as well. So they're going to get that. They're going to get a percentage of that as well.
And I still don't like it. I still don't.
I'm not saying. So again, I'm not. I don't like it either. I would much prefer.
I'm mad at you. You didn't make it.
Right. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know how much time, folks got. I don't, we may be coming to the end of this podcast. Like, again, the picture that you've been painting on social media in terms of like Spotify's house and I've seen it change lives. I've seen it, give opportunities for artists to invest in their career to grow their businesses. Right. I've seen it give opportunities for advances and things like that. It's opening up doors that I haven't seen in this industry in the past, when I started in 2008, right? We couldn't get an advance. Like I had to put up the money to start Funk Volume. Even when we started making a little money, we were selling stuff on iTunes and we were selling physical CDs, right? That transparent, cash flow that's, predictable, that these finance companies are coming in and trying to, and again, some of these finance companies are shady. That could be a whole nother conversation, but the fact is they're here because there's money and that money is going somewhere. And a lot of these independent artists are creating that money. A lot of this money from the finance companies are going to independent art to finance their careers.
Erinn, you mad at me? Your body language changed. Your energy changed. You good?
I just got an email that's putting me off. Sorry, it's not you at all. It's not.
That's how I pick up good on energy. That's how I knew. I was like, get his ass off of here.
to me, that's a beautiful thing, man. And, you know, like I said, I know that you don't like when thought leaders say, like, you know, well, there's all these other, like.
But Dame, you got to understand, I love that you exist. Let me say that first of all. I love that you exist in this space because for a long time, we couldn't get to a Dame when you were handling funk volume. Not in this accessibility. So I don't think people realize the when they're arguing with you, I don't think they realize and I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but the privilege that they have to have a conversation with somebody who did it. I love talking to doers.
Well, that's wrong too, though. We had the Funk Volume virtual conference back in 2013, man. I've always been.
But I'm not saying that you weren't accessible. I'm saying that at this rate of content that you're making, could you have made this rate of content plus be at the helm and be as successful as you guys were? That's what I'm talking about. When I zoom out, I'm like, when I'm seeing this, 16, 17-year-old nerd get on the internet and tell you about independence, I'm like, Doug, you haven't even put the work in to have these conversations, but I respect these conversations though, Dame, because I have put the work in and I continue to put the work in. And so when I say something, it is not me at this stage. Maybe when I was younger, it's not at this stage. It's not me acting irrational. It's not me being emotional about it. It's me saying, when you know better, you must do better with that information. And I feel that streaming may make sense in a year, 2 years. Right now, based upon what I am seeing within my demographic, as I talk to them, as I study them, as I have conversations about their habits, about the things that they ultimately value even more than streaming, I start to recognize I can affect their lives in many different ways, right? We're talking about right now doing something similar to what LaRussell has been doing and being able to provide free haircuts in the community. And being able to really stand in the community and cultivate these things that you can't stream. And this is not an anti-streaming statement when I say that. I'm not gaslighting. I'm just saying these are experiences you can't stream. I'm leaning all the way into those so that I have the proper capital as an artist. As a content creator, I could just say F it all and not care about any of this stuff. But as an artist, that's what I started off as, Dane. None of this stuff even existed. So in that headspace, what I'm recognizing is in order for me to build the exclusivity, this is funny because this is no different than what a lot of these head ass ClickFunnels dudes be talking about, right? In order to build up the value, you must go through some kind of exclusivity, right? You must be able to have a top end to the funnel, and it's like you can use streaming as that. In order for me to even get in that headspace, we got to make some scratch, and I'm not talking about just a few dollars every month. I'm talking about some scratch. And what I'm telling you right now, what I love about what Erinn said earlier. Having the ability in 2023 to leverage your relationship with sponsors changes the game, because now what they're coming to me is not just my ability to rap songs well. They're coming to my ability to communicate, to articulate, because of my influence and the trust that I've built. This is where I'm saying that's more important than any of the stuff that we're talking about. If you can build that for any creative, if you can't figure out a way to articulate yourself, you are going to be on a podcast in 20 years talking about, man, the record label, man, it's real demonic out here, man. They treat everybody. We tried to tell you. We was on Twitter, but folks are saying I was wrong. That's fine. I just hope this ages well. I do. I'm playing with you.
But my thing is, like, I think how I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to change your mind and how you're setting up your business. Sure. I think that's the beauty of being an independent creator today. You can set up your business however you want, but sure. You just said you're doing all those things for the capital. I'm assuming part of that capital is money, right? You can include another creator that can figure out the streaming, can include streaming in that process of building the capital to further build out their business from there, right?
Human beings by nature are terrible multitaskers. Even the computers that we work on didn't have the ability to process multiple windows until 1993 or 1994 or 5. We are terrible multitaskers. Women are far better. Shout out to Erinn, far better multitaskers than us. What I'm learning is that I'm on the far end of that spectrum, and me trying to figure out, all right, this is the new algorithms. Okay, let me test this out in Spotify. Let me figure this out. That's getting me off my peg. I cannot be the greatest version of Curtis King for the people who are like, dog, I don't care if you start selling dog slippers. I'm buying those dog slippers. That's my 80-20. The people who are 20% of my audience that buy 80% of my product, if I figure out how to satisfy them, I could be like R. Stevie Moore. R. Stevie Moore has a Bandcamp that will take you hours to scroll down. and he still sends out cassette tapes. He's a DIY legend from the 80s, right? I'm not saying that I want the same trajectory, but what I'm saying is that we live in a time where if you have 100 dedicated fans and you know how to take care of them, your needs may not be the needs of the person that's like, I'm living off $170,000 every month off of Spotify, baby. That's cool. You only need up to 60,000, I think it is. They said, Harvard study, last thing I'll say, I think it was a Harvard or Stanford study that said, as human beings, the happiest money will ever make us is when we go from what is considered poverty up to $50,000. After that, we're just playing with sexier toys. After that, we're just getting to a place where we're chasing things. We're chasing the Joneses. When I understood that, then I realized $50,000, fam, I could breathe on YouTube and make that in a year, right? As an affiliate, doing nothing musically. But that's because I had the ability to learn how to sell, the ability to know how to market, the ability to know how to communicate. These are my superpowers. And I know I'm not saying everybody has them, but I'm saying if you develop those, regardless of what the outside world presents you, you will be able to profit, make a living, and win, is all I'm saying. And I think one of these takes us away from that because you ain't got to know how to communicate. Just make some good ass songs and make sure I can TikTok dance to it, and we can, baby, upload it.
But if that's how they prefer to win, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I see the skill set that you have, the selling. I think that's amazing. But I also see the artist. But I also think it's amazing that there's an artist out there that is more of an introvert that doesn't have those skills, can just drop a song every week and build income off of that. Like, why is the way you're pursuing? I can answer that. Why is the way you're pursuing things better than the way he's pursuing things?
Not saying it's better, but I'm saying it has better long-term ability. Hey, Payne, why did you decide to start showing your face more on YouTube? Why? There was a point in time where you was mostly beat videos. Why did you decide to start showing your face more?
No, I started showing my face. It was actually, I won't lie, probably because of you.
Yeah.
I never told you this, probably because when you came back, we were kind of neck and neck for a while. And then when you came back and you hit that 100,000 in like a summer.
100 videos in a row.
I saw that. So I'm like, well, why have I been holding all this information in? So I did it and I hit 100,000 by the end of that summer.
Wait, hold on. What's the 100 videos in a row?
I made 100 videos in a row.
But you played the game too. What you talking about?
I mean, I played the game.
You played the game too on these platforms. I
didn't play the game I didn't play the game with the art that I came in and that I love. I did not play the game with that. I played it with something that was not. Hold on, hear me out. I played it with something that I did not value as much as my art form. It was the communication tool that I used here. With my music, I never played that quantity game to check off boxes. And this is my issue.
That's true.
I don't give a shit about this content space. These producers get on my damn nerves sometimes. I love a lot of them. Get on my damn nerves. They're nitpicky. They sit inside your beats and say, "You used to my sausage fattener." Nobody cares about shit. I don't care about this content shit. Somebody can clip this up and say, "Damn, Curtis don't." About it. But what I do care about is his music. And I get goosebumps to this day. And then when I talk to artists who don't get those goosebumps, I'm like, why don't you get those goosebumps? Oh, because you made your first $50,000 before you learned how to properly put together your music. You made your first check off of Spotify, which I feel like, not even Spotify, just streaming. I feel like also it promotes lazy artists. As much as it is, the introvert is able to make some scratch. That's amazing. But this is part of your job description. How much lower does the bar have to become? At some point, when you say, I want to share my music with the public, that's why, to a certain degree, 3 Stacks, I love you. You're my favorite rapper of all time. But a lot of this stuff, I call cap. You got the social anxiety, but you're socially sharing a new project that you know is going to be controversial because it's different from anybody else wanted. If you want to make a flute album, make it by yourself. And keep it to yourself. You're making a lot of assumptions there. I know. And that's what I'm saying. As an artist, I feel safe to make some of these assumptions because I know what fear smell like. This nigga scared. I know what fear smell like when I see it. And when I listen to
not scared. At what we've had an issue with music in every decade. It's just been different, right? Like when Soulja Boy hit the scene, I could imagine somebody saying the same thing. Right? Or
what in particular?
What'd you say?
About what in particular about Soulja Boy?
About just
the came out in 2007.
Just the quality of the art, right? When CDs were a thing, everybody was saying, I'm not buying the CD because there's only one good song on it. Right? What's the difference between that and what we're saying today? Because and it's definitely not just a streaming thing. Music has become easier to make, and there's a lot more people making it. But I think that also is an opportunity for people to really stand out. Hence, Killer Mike's album, right? Why are they praising it? Why are they praising it? Because it is a high quality album that sticks out amongst all this other stuff that's going on. So I don't understand, like, you still have the ability to put your price on things on your own platform. You have the ability to create the best art you can create. Why are we worried about what other people are doing?
Because he has the system and the team to support such an effort where he can focus on solely the art and it not hurt the business of the art. Me as a solopreneur with a smaller team, I, at this moment, don't have that ability. Just being transparent.
But you just talked about all the other revenue streams you have to be able. Do you
see these bags under my eyes, Dave? You know how hard I had to work for these other revenue streams? Like, this is when I learned that there's a difference between having 7 streams of revenue and working 7 different jobs. There's a big difference between those. And I'm learning that firsthand as a solopreneur. I haven't always been the best leader of teams because I make friends out of everybody that I work with. I love that. But that also causes for some people to get comfortable and not to put the same output that you would do yourself. So as a DIYer, I had to go find a way to start it myself so that I can get the capital to hire these people. When I look at a Killer Mike, it's so inspiring to see him do that. And then he put his art on there. That's cool. That's his decision. What I'm saying is Curtis King at this point in time, for me to pivot from content to full back into music again, things are going to have to shift for me, not only as a business, but also psychologically. And what's bothering me psychologically, and you can call it weakness if you want, is the influence that the streaming environment just has on my art. I don't like the way that I feel when I'm creating, thinking about streaming. I don't like it. That's just my personal issue. So now what I'm saying is when I released it, oh my God, damn, I sat up here and made a beat and I didn't care about how the rollout of this was going to, I said, I'm put this on the website or on Bandcamp. And the freedom that I felt, even in this moment that I'm still feeling through this project that I'm about to put out, I don't want to let that go. And when I start to have the ability, and I'm already doing it now by seeing how these USB cards are selling. My thing is this: the switch happened because a switch happened. It's a domino effect. I don't know if the switch happened the way it did for me right now, where I'm really building out a real business as an artist. I don't know if that doesn't happen. If that happens, if I'm comfortable in a streaming environment, if I'm okay with the standards of it. And I'm not saying it's my hat does not fit everybody. This is not a one size fit all situation. I'm saying for Curtis King in 2023, in order to get myself right, to get my head right and get prepared for this next push as an artist, I have to sacrifice some things. One of those things for me on the top of the list was streaming. And then Spotify came around and said, we got a threshold system. I said, cool. You made this a lot easier for me. Now, for somebody else, if you're in a position where that money could change your livelihood, sis, bro, do what you got to do. But have an exit plan. This is monopoly. When you hang out too long in an environment, you leave yourself vulnerable. Same thing as YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. When you leave yourself in one environment and you rely upon one nest egg, you leave yourself vulnerable to where it can be taken away. So make sure that you're diversifying. Make sure that you create spaces that you can control and that you can also pull in your emails from. Why the hell does Spotify not give me access to all them damn listeners that I got? Why I can't get their email? That should have been day one. That should have been day one.
Again, you start in one space and then you'll end with something that we all can agree with. And
that's my only issue, because I feel like this is not what we've been talking about. And when you say certain things, I'm like, of course, we all agree you need to monetize because I believe in a critical mass. You need to have your own community that's feeding into you. You don't need to rely on these things. But we started talking about Spotify and now it's a whole different conversation. I think that's my biggest issue, because it feels like the conversation, the goalposts just keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, all that other stuff I love. The only difference, and I just sum it up here, the only difference in what you called it a house, you called Spotify a house, right? The only difference is I don't think the house is as bad as you're communicating it to your community. You're an educator. You're not just an artist. You're an educator in the space. Sure. So I think we have to be more responsible how we talk about things. We have to talk about things with more facts and so that it doesn't detour people from going into a house that could have benefited them, right? Like I said, artists are getting consistent, predictable cash flow that's allowing them to invest in their careers. It's allowing them to license or sell their catalogs for a lot of money. And I don't want to detour anybody from going into that house if they have the skill set or the desire to be successful in that house.
So the house that we're talking about is actually a room to me. Spotify is just a room in a bigger house with a bigger problem. I shout out to Glasses Malone. I'm thankful for the conversation I had with him a few weeks ago. He explained his philosophy that there's a difference between the record business and the music business. And when I saw that there's so many metrics that have driven my psyche that are really record business, image first type of metrics, it really freed me up to realize that my numbers don't need to match up to anybody else's numbers for that business to work for my business. I say Spotify is a room because when I look at an article like from The Guardian, and it was purported many a times in 2018 that musicians in the US receive just 12% of industry revenues. I don't want to go down another rabbit hole, but I do want to present this. What I'm saying is that if you're talking about all musicians in a particular industry that contribute the most important product to all of this. Yes, people play different roles, but they only receive 12% of the revenue. There's a bigger issue here. Spotify is just one of the things along the list. So when I make a decision to step away, this is not me saying I hate you, Spotify. It's me saying get your bread, Playboy, but I'm gonna get mine too. Not saying I'm a Spotify, but saying that I am an independent, and by all means, I'll make it happen. And you know what? Down the line, if it makes better sense for us to partner, let's do that. But what I'm going to bring to you this time are people who actually buy hard tickets to shows, people who actually buy merchandise. I'm not saying people don't have it on that side, but when you're an introvert and this is what you're used to, you never have to develop those skills to sell. But when you're inside of a show, fam, you can't use a streaming farm to sell a t-shirt to somebody in front of you. At some point, you got to get your ass out here and talk to these people. If you want to have fans in a community, how you got a community, but you don't want to commune?
Again, you pivoted right into something that we all agree with.
Is it all related?
We could wrap it up, paying.
Dame sick of me. Dame sick of me.
Let me ask real quick, because so regardless of how we look at it, I really do feel like foundationally we all agree the specifics of our respective philosophies on streaming. That's where we differ, and whatever. I don't agree with. I damn sure don't agree with the threshold. Dame and I have butted heads on that before. To be,
I'm not saying. But again, my stance on that, Pain, is I don't necessarily agree with it. It's just not something that I'm going to go to war. I'm not going to go.
No, right. No, what we disagree on is that somehow this is an equitable distribution of the money freed up by creating that threshold, and I disagree, because if it's market share and the market share only exists because UMG and the top three majors all control the vast majority, virtually all of that market share, then it's the reverse Robin Hood effect, as they say. I know that's kind of a platitude, but I think it applies to this. My point is to be DIY like Curtis. There are some people who are looking at this conversation as a binary, right? Here's Curtis over here. He's saying, fuck streaming.
I ain't say, hold on. I ain't say fuck streaming.
I know you didn't. I'm saying there are people who are looking at.
My best friends are you streaming. Head ass. No, I'm not saying that streaming, but go ahead.
So we have anti-streaming Curtis over. Now I'm playing, but people who will view the conversation as a binary, where Curtis is over here saying no more streaming, do it all hand to hand, and then we have Dame over here saying just do streaming. Streaming is the greatest, regardless of how you.
Hey, where are you going with this? That's not what.
Look.
Now it's paying.
That's not my stance at all. And I've had to interject 3 times to tell you that I'm not the captain for streaming.
Payne, what just done to you, Payne? What has the producer community done to you? Look how they got you out here. Payne, what's going on, man? You said I said that.
Like I'm in a
I'm just playing with. I'm playing. I don't want to cause no. Look, it's too early for all of this. Where I'm at.
It is way too early. Damn, I finally get to talk, and then I'm getting dogpiled. What I'm saying is there are people who will misinterpret this conversation as a binary, and on the one hand, they will place Curtis King on the anti-streaming side and Dame on the all-in on streaming side. It's not accurate. That's not what you believe. But even if you accept that that's what you guys are saying, which is it is not. Let me clarify for 18th time. Then you have to accept the fact that either side takes a ton of work. And then in addition to that, so right in the middle, you have to learn something.
Follow one course. Success is the acronym for focus.
Exactly. And you have to do it at a high level, regardless of whatever your goals are. There's no easy way out. Selling t-shirts is really not easy. Getting 1 million monthly listeners on streaming is really not easy. So no matter what, those of the folks who are listening to this and not knowing what to do, really, I feel like, and maybe we can agree on this as we wind the podcast up, is you just have to work hard and at a high level to succeed in any arena in the music business.
Can't sneak the hard work.
And I think it's amazing for us to have debates about the specifics of what these platforms are offering. However, ultimately, that conversation happens separately from the work. The work has to, the person that could outwork everyone else and outlearn everyone else in 1990 with that very same energy can succeed today. Now that everything's completely different. So whether you're streaming, whether you're not streaming, whether you're doing everything at once, if you're not doing it at a high level with intention and with information and with knowledge on your side and consistently over time, then it's very likely you aren't going to get anywhere and you're going to be frustrated. So I don't think Curtis is saying reject streaming. I don't think Dame is saying don't build community. I think everyone's saying the same thing, and we're in a privileged position to have the space to argue about the finer points and debate the finer points here. I know we're careful about the messaging we put out. So I just want to cap the conversation by saying we're all saying the same thing: build community, work hard, learn. And the people who are destructive forces within the music guru, producer space, YouTube content creator space, music business, education space, the problematic folks are the ones who are telling you what to do and what not to do.
And I just hope that shit matters. Category. That's one thing I want to preface. When I first came in here, somebody sent me, and I'm kind of like looking at him sideways because this some dude, I don't know the good guy's name, but he clips up stuff from conversations and he'll just slide it in my Twitter. And I'm like, why are you doing this? And he got to a clip where you guys were talking about me taking my music off the stream. He's like, Dame's like, oh, I think Curtis is thinking about taking it. He's like, and then Payne's like looking like a disappointed dad. He's like, he did. And then the clip just stopped.
I saw that. I got that. Yeah.
Right. And the clip just stops. And I'm like, I feel like that 50 Cent meme. That's what I do. I just woke up like, what the hell did I do? All I did was follow my path and try to find some success. But I understand the messaging contradicting with a lot of the things that Dame is saying. Dame, I don't think you understand how much of a fucking honor it is that I know you. I know that's going to get bleeped out. How much of an honor it is, bro. That's why I asked you the question I asked you before off stream. We can keep that off stream, but I respect you on such a high level because I studied what y'all did. I studied what you did. And when I look back, even when we had our first interview, I didn't want to ask you no questions for clickbait, bro. I got business questions I want to ask you because I respect your mind. Payne, same thing, bro. I'm so effing proud of the thing that you have built and the way that you pivoted. These thumbnails are wild because they get my attention every single time. So shout out to you. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I love where this is going. I don't love the direction the producer community is going, but that's a conversation for another day.
Can we have that conversation? Just me and you.
I'm with you. I'm with you because that right there, when I become full artist mode, they're going to be like, yo, Curtis, where are the tutorials? Yeah. Your mama got the tutorials. I don't have nothing for you. I'm not giving you no damn tutorial because y'all don't deserve the tutorials. Leave me alone. Leave me alone because y'all have not. That's another conversation, but I'm gonna just say this. I love y'all. Erinn, it's a pleasure to actually meet you. I've heard your input many a times. I love the fact you're able to articulate that in a way where it's like, I never thought about it like that. Let me take this new information and do something with it. What you said about Basquiat, thank you for telling me that, because now that helps me to I'm a sponge. It helps me to reframe and understand where I'm at. I just want y'all to always know I stand on the side of truth and discovery. I'm never here to push no narratives or nothing like that. That is all about, If I'm clowning, that's because I'm just, that's who I am, right? But I never want you to get the idea that I am like this in that guru category, because I don't put you guys in that. You're doers. Gurus are not doers. The only thing they do is always be in your face with ads about, you see this yacht right here? You could be there. That's what they do. They don't do the actual work. So I don't look at these guys. And I hope that you never put me in that same category as giving misinformation on purpose. If I've done it, I research it. Every reaction video I've done, the reason why I got such a good success rate is because I actually look up stats along the way and I care about it, because I don't want to be wrong about that. But I'm going to be wrong sometimes because information and numbers can be skewed, but it's never on purpose to push any agenda. At the end of the day, the same people that you guys say that you care about, I care about. These artists, these creatives, I want to just as a consumer, get the best music possible. I don't want to get an artist that's checking off check boxes because some nerdy ass playlister told him that he should make his songs 1 minute and 30 seconds. I don't want to hear that. I miss my We Major solos at the end of a Kanye West song. Well, unfortunately, a lot of things are not promoting that kind of behavior in the name of commerce. I get it. Make your bread. But I, as a music listener and music creator, I miss it. I miss when artists sounded like they care and not disinterested in the process. And that's all that I'm pushing for. So if there's things that I feel have made me disinterested, I feel like it's on my heart to share. My grandmother used to say, the more you know, the more you owe. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to say I'm always right. I'm not always right. But just know that my information comes from a pure place. I'm not trying to incite nothing. I'm going to. I understand that, but it's not my intention. My intention is just to be honest. I'd rather be at peace with myself and at war with the world than at peace with the world and at war with myself. And that's where I'm at right now.
For sure.
I think that's a good place.
I mean, we wouldn't have one if didn't have a lot of respect for you. So we can end it there. Let's just shout out Two Laws one more time. If you want to get 3 months free music distribution on Two Law, step up your streaming game on Spotify and all the other DSPs. Use the promo code PAIN, PAIN. Get 3 months free. PAIN, you can close us out.
Yeah, www.twoloss.com. Use the code PAIN. And again, I just want to emphasize 3 months free, but then $2.99 a month after that. And then if you pay for the full year, it's ridiculously cheap. So we're not pushing a product that's unaffordable for our listeners, because we appreciate you. And Curtis, we appreciate you for being here.
And Dame, if there's ever a conversation that you want to have on the platform about what you're doing and how it differs from a lot of these systems out here, I'm always open. Like my channel is, I don't care enough to be anti, right? I care more about the pro independence, the pro art. So I would love for you to come on the platform and talk about how this differs, because there may be somebody who fits that avatar a lot better than I do. And I would be irresponsible to not expose that to them.
Yeah. And also Curtis gave a verbal agreement to coming back on my channel to talk about the producer community.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. You want some clickbait? You want some I'm gonna turn it to Charleston White for an episode, because the stuff I gotta say about the producer community, I'm not gonna say it on my channel right now, because
where's my pepper spray?
It's nasty, bro. It's nasty right now. And I hate to see, I love the responsibility that people are being asked to the accountability, I should say. I like that. But there's some things along this line that I'm like, it's just nasty. It's not from a place of I care. It's from a place of I want.
No, it's like the people who are like, oh, people can't handle me because I'm too honest. It's like, well, you just walk down the street and call someone that you don't even know a raggedy bitch. Well, that's how I felt. There's a difference between.
That's how I'm built different. No,
you know what I mean? Like there's a difference. They can't handle the truth. It's not really.
That ain't how this works. That's not how life works. Until you get punched in the mouth, then you be like, you know what? I can't be like that everywhere I go, because that's not responsible.
And not even punched in the mouth literally, but like.
I do mean literally, because that will change a lot. The first time I got punched in the mouth, it changed my mind about a lot of things I said. I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that literally. When you get punched in the mouth and know that that's on the table, I'm not going to, I don't need to be the puncher. I don't need to be in nobody's jail. Plus, my body don't heal the same way a day after. I'm not trying to go fight as the first option. But I will say, getting punched in the mouth when somebody is so irrational and all over the place, it can change your psyche. It could change the way that you view your world because it can come at you real fast. That's my opinion. My opinion.
I'm still out here talking shit, but
let's save it for another episode. I love y'all, and I mean that. I really mean that. Y'all are important to this space. There's not enough thought leaders in this, and y'all are thought leaders. If you feel like I gave you any strays, Dame, ain't no strays to you. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I felt. I don't see you as no damn guru because you did this, bro. I remember watching a DVD with my independent label. Like, nigga, that's what we need to be doing right there. Y'all don't
wait a minute. The Doers. Is there a podcast already called The Doers? I feel like that when we just snatched that right up.
That may be our name. We see you, Curtis King.
I like that one meme there.
We got to put the little crown in the corner of our logo just to give
Maybe
credit.
It's 3 crowns.
Doers. The Doers. We're living in a time where that is a lost art for some people, where they'll listen and buy products from people who never even did it. It's the Clubhouse effect.
People who did it a decade ago.
But I have more respect for that one than I do somebody who never even tried. They just got on Clubhouse and talk loud enough. People are like, he must be real. It must be true. It must be right because he loud. Like, no,